philosophical subjects in regards to how does one reckon. And so what we mean is, how does one reckon with change? In life, we tend to go down certain paths. Some of them are meant for us and others are not. Some paths are reality and benefits and blessings, and some other paths are more of an illusion. This is where you fall hard for the wrong person, the wrong partner, a narcissistic person, right? This is when you're fighting for your respect or your attention. This is when you're in lack of love or affection. So we just want to start off by saying, how does one reckon? What do you think?
Oh, when I think about the word reckon, I think the word identify and recognize. Because when someone's looking at someone, you're trying to figure them out.
Sure.
You know, what is it about them? You know, what makes them stand out? Because everyone has a identity, but some people tend to put on a mask when it comes back to the word narcissist or narcissism.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And if you guys aren't aware of what narcissistic people do or who they are, they're basically people with multiple personalities. Whoever they connect themselves to now in their paths, they take on their personality, and that's where the term mini mask comes from. So that's why they start love bombing people. They pull you in closer. They tell you they're the only people who operate or move like this, and they put an illusion or an image in your head to believe that you're the luckiest person to be with someone like them, when in reality, they're going, I'm as lucky to be with them because they're going to be my new supplier. So how does one reckon with something or someone who operates in narcissistic mask or different personalities? What's your thoughts regarding people who are narcissistic?
Person who's a narcissist. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. In my past experience with a relationship, I definitely dealt with a narcissist. I was love bombed, I was gaslighted, but I gave that person narcissistic injury. It's crazy because they can't ever give what they dish out. So it's like when they get hit with that curveball, they're shocked because it's like it's either their way or the highway. And it's like they get mad when you realize like their worth. Like narcissists, to me, like everybody has their different opinion, but personally, I feel like they're dead inside. So they need supply, whether it's good or bad. They don't know how to be alone. And the minute they don't have any supply, like they want to off themselves. They don't want to live.
Yeah, and to kind of feed off what she's saying, not only do narcissistic men or women do this, you know, as far as in blame shifting, narrative shifting, and then playing the victim. And then once they can't get away with those things, a lot of narcissists tend to explode or implode, and then they discard you and throw you away like you meant nothing to them. And that leaves a person messed up. So you get stuck in what I call a mental prison, right? An emotional prison, where you're going, did I say those things? Did they just turn something around? I even forgot my point, what I was gonna tell them, right? So dealing with a narcissist is dangerous. They can't move or go where they need to go unless they have somebody who's much stronger that they can connect themselves to and siphon off your energy, your good energy, your finances, your love, your natural ability to be who you are. This is what destroys most men and women when they're trapped in a narcissistic connection, because they can't figure out who they once were. This is where people use the term, damn, I gave everything to that goddamn person, and I feel like I lost myself in that relationship, right? So they end up destroying the most purest thing that made you who you are. And there's only one of you. So when someone strips you of all of your energies or all the things that make you be the person that you are to people that you love or strangers that you want to help out, it's because you ran into something called a narcissistic person. And some narcissistic people got more than like 7 or 8 masks. I assure you, I've been with a narcissistic woman or two in my day, and they're so good at word manipulation that if you don't pay attention to details, you lose. They always say the enemy is in details. When you focus on details, details matter. This is when you start to align what makes sense and what doesn't. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's true because, like you said, like me, the spirit, I want to say the spirit of discernment It's like you get that feeling because at the end of the day, energy doesn't lie. So like, yes, narcissists, like he was saying, like siphoning your energy. I like to call them energy vampires. You know,
Absolutely.
like they suck you dry, they leave you, you know, drained, exhausted, like defeated. But I used to always wonder all the time, like, man, like why I'm going through this, like why me? I started blaming myself because I was taking that person back because they would play on that if they know they could get over on you. But then I started realizing in the end, I actually thanked them because if it wasn't for me experiencing that with that narcissist, they actually ignited the flame and they awakened me to realize my worth. So now I can shoot up, like, and elevate to where I need to be. Because at first, when I was low, you know, I didn't know any better. That's why they want you to be stuck because they're trapped in a mental prison. You know, they keep reliving the same thing over and over in their mind. You could be laying right next to them, they're thinking about something else or being with somebody in the past. Yeah, but the thing is to elevate, you know, and move forward. And they hate when you move forward. They always want to live in the past. Yeah, like a time warp.
Yeah, so to kind of give you a broader perception of it, we're going to expand it a little bit. So she's right. A lot of narcissistic people are incredible at love bombing people, pulling them back in, asking for another chance, saying, I'm going to change, just give me some time. You know, it's not easy being me. So when you hear these people say these things, I want you guys to think of one thing. You're going, it was just as easy for you to do something crazy. So it should be just as easy for you to undo what you're doing crazy. You thought about what you did strategically and you executed it and it affected me. So now that you see that I'm affected, right, you're going to weaponize my empathy or sensitivity and be like, you're not that type of person. I know you're forgiving. And so they kind of slide back in or slither in through certain cracks and crevices, which I call boundaries. So this is why we use the term, how does one reckon, right? So I'm trying to show you all, and she's trying to show you all, how do you reckon with what just happened? How do you reckon with moving forward? How do you identify what the next steps is in this process? And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a struggle, it's a challenge, but everybody can do it because the narcissist didn't destroy you, they just drained you. And once they're removed and you discard a narcissist, don't think that they aren't suffering because they're struggling to find a replacement, to get a better supply or even match your supply, and they never will. And two, you have to rebuild yourself, the confidence that you once had, the activities that you love to do, right? Once you get back involved into the things that brought you joy, that added to the peace that you want to maintain and sustain, or to things that just brightened your day and made you sleep at night with ease. See, getting that clear conscience and pulling yourself out of that web of manipulation, lies, deception, things of that nature, how does one reckon?
I feel like how someone reckons is that when you're tend to be dealing with narcissists, you're grieving someone that was pretending to be something that they're not. So you go through those honeymoon phases and those periods, and it's just crazy because like you sit back and think about it, you're like, dang, like this was never them. And then I started to realize that like, oh, like I loved you for you, but in reality, no, I just love the idea of who I wanted you to be.
Yeah. And as you can see, sometimes as people, men and women, we have the biggest challenge for some reason now versus us being little toddlers, you know, between the ages of like 5 and like 10, right? What I call accepting. We get stuck in such webs because we're trying to see it for what we want it to be versus seeing it for what it is. And if you accept that you can see things that are whether good, bad, or even ugly, you'll understand quickly how to cut those webs and see through the deception and walk straight past the illusions, right? Narcissistic people do a lot of crazy stuff like future fronting, right? Oh, I promise you I'm gonna take you someplace. Oh, you'll see next time I'm gonna be clean, I'm gonna get my act together. You guys have heard all types of excuses from people, right? In reality, when they give you an excuse, they're basically showing you that they're not gonna be accountable, right? If they don't add accountability, what they learned, and what their plan is to build and grow and develop with you, it makes life a hell of a lot harder, and that's how you get lost. So I always like to tell people something I heard which is you can't be walking down the same path, talking to the person that you consider to be a partner regarding growth development, and you're holding hands with somebody who's committed to not changing. This is how we get lost, because they future front. I'm gonna change sooner or later. It's not an overnight thing. Don't get caught holding hands with a partner who shouldn't be your partner because they're not committed to changing, to becoming the best version so they can be the best version for you. And in that version, that'll make you a better version. They tend to dull your light, dim it down. Don't get caught up in such webs. When you identify with things, then you start to reckon, right? So how does one reckon? You start with identifying, recognizing patterns, cycles. And in that, you'll save yourself a lot of stress, a lot of sleepless nights. You don't gotta worry about drying your tears off the pillow. I've been there before. I sat there and go, God, why me? What I get into this for? I've used